Hey everyone, and welcome as we continue our study through the New Testament, looking at the New Testament church. And today we are finishing up Peter. This is First Peter 5, verses 12 through 14. So we're going to finish First Peter, and then we'll dive into Second Peter tomorrow. And so just two verses or three verses real quick. For I have written and sent this short letter to you with the help of Silas, whom I commend to you as a faithful brother. My purpose in writing is to encourage you and assure you that what you are experiencing is truly part of God's grace for you. Stand firm in that grace. Your sister church here in Babylon sends you greetings, and so does my son Mark. Greet each other with a kiss of love. Peace be with you all who are in Christ. And so he talks about writing this with the help of Silas. And so Silas was the person who wrote the letter. Peter directed it, dictated it, and Silas would have been the one to write it down. Silas is the shortened form of Sylvanus, I believe is how you say his name. Both names are actually refer to the same individual. And Silas was Paul's constant colleague after the time of the council in Jerusalem in Acts. So if you'll see he's in Acts 15, 16, 17. 18, 2 Corinthians, and First Thessalonians, and Second Thessalonians. So you can actually go back and see where Silas helped that. We're not sure how Silas ended up with Peter in Rome, but he may have traveled there with or followed Paul. So either way, somehow ended up all of them there in Rome at the same time. And then he says as he's ending this, he talks about your sister church here in Babylon. And so literally the elect one in Babylon is the way that is translated. And so more than likely, Babylon was probably a symbolic name for Rome. Because we know that he wrote this letter while he was in Rome, and so like Rome, Babylon, if you know the history of Babylon, was a great city, the capital of an empire. It held much sway over the ancient Near East in 500 BC. Sorry, and as a great city in the capital of the empire that burned Jerusalem, right, and it took many captives, Israelites back to their city, back to Babylon. Babylon was regarded as the power center of a world hostile to God's people. And so, for this reason, when we get into the book of Revelation, you'll see this. Babylon was actually used as a metaphor or code word for Rome. And so, for some reason here, and that's probably the same reason, Peter is using that as a code word. And so, he's using that same title in the same way. And then we see Mark. John Mark comes back up again, and he was another co worker of the Apostle Paul. Mark wrote the Gospel of Mark, and that we've already studied. We studied early last year, and is generally thought to be based on Peter's teaching. So, most scholars believe that Mark probably got most of his information for his writing directly from Peter in his writing. So that finishes First Peter. And tomorrow we'll start Second Peter, and again, it's going to be basically a greetings from Peter and growing in faith, looking at that. And so most of Peter's letter were letters of encouragement and letters for growing and those type of things, especially for Christians who were in going through hard times, going through either some type of persecution, that kind of stuff. So we'll dive into that. Like I said, today's isn't real long. It's a shorter one. Get a little bit more of a history lesson more than anything from this one. But as always, I hope you're enjoying these. I hope you're learning from them. I encourage you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. That way you can continue to follow along with us. And as always, I appreciate everyone who takes time to watch these, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day.